Hello walkers, and welcome back to City Walks, where we do city tours and nature walks and all sorts of stuff. We are in Bozeman, Montana again today. We were here a couple weeks ago, but there was snow on the ground. I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, snow on the ground, and the seasons are trying really hard to change right now. It is still not quite spring, I would say. Well, it's spring, but it's early days yet. It is 48 degrees Fahrenheit, 9 degrees Celsius, about quarter of 4 p.m. And we're just gonna loop down here. Let me tell you where we're gonna go because I'd like to give you a little heads up. We're starting down here at the Emerson Cultural Center. I'm gonna give you a shot of that real quick. As we do so often, beautiful, awesome arts center, and it is in the corner of Grand and Babcock. We're going to cross Babcock here, and I'm going to loop you down, just a quick loop downtown, just because it's fun to see downtown Bozeman. And then we're going to head up Willson for a ways, and we're going to go into the south side neighborhood, and it's kind of a more older historic neighborhood. We've walked here before years ago, but I thought I'd do it again. I think the last Bozeman walk actually which was up on Pete's Hill mainly, got a fair number of views, so it indicates that people are interested in that sort of thing in Bozeman. And as the summer season comes and people are making their travel plans, I think it's nice to be able to have a resource here and see what you're getting yourself into. Speaking of travel plans, this is the Lark Hotel. I've talked about it before. It's kind of a neat neo-mid-century modern styled boutique hotel. Apparently it's pretty nice, and it's right down here downtown. So if you can get a reservation down here, highly recommend. And then there's a couple other hotels down here too, including Element and the Armory, which is behind the Baxter. The Hotel Baxter is not actually a hotel. I believe it's office space and apartments and restaurants. I'm gonna cross over here. We're crossing Grand. And restaurants, there's a events venue in there, etc. You can see the Lark over here. And it is a Saturday afternoon, so stuff's going on down here. People are down here walking around, hanging out, exploring, shopping, dining, etc. Bozeman is a great town to visit. Not too far from Yellowstone, about an hour and a half really, but equidistant from Gardner and West Yellowstone, pretty much. Maybe a little further to west. And we're gonna make a right on Willson. Willson is an old family name. I can't remember exactly the history there. I've looked it up before, but we're gonna head south. And so my intention is to get up near the university. We'll see where our route takes us. I don't always plan these walks out ahead of time. In fact, I rarely do. I usually have a start and a destination, maybe a few things to find in between, but also just like the serendipity of discovering. In fact, I'm gonna flip you around real quick. Spinning. My name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker today, your virtual travel guide, your co-discoverer, as I like to say. I'm gonna flip you around again, so get ready. There we go. I want to thank our Patreon supporters as well. Your financial support is a big help. I'd like to thank those who have given a single-time donation too via Coffee or PayPal. If you do it that way versus the super thanks or whatever, we're back to Babcock here. I actually keep more of that. YouTube takes their cut, which, they deserve to. They're hosting everything. but it's much more than Patreon, PayPal, or Ko-fi. There we go, I'm gonna cross. Coffee, I guess is how it's pronounced. And there are links for those things down in the description. Willson is a major or primary north-south route between Kagi, well, even beyond Kagi, but Kagi and Maine. And it gets pretty busy, which is a little, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, you wouldn't think so. The neighborhood around it, the houses around it are so quiet and sedate, I guess. I'm not sure, I'm losing my words today. That it's a little surprising to have these big homes along such a busy street in such a small city. I think the city population is, I believe, pushing 80,000 now. The county is probably twice that, maybe more, because the county actually goes all the way down to, as we cross Olive here, goes down to Big Sky in West Yellowstone. You can see that the trees are not leafed out yet for the most part. We're starting to get some buds, and of course the green grass is sprung up, and it's very welcome. When I moved here in 1997, this was a coffee shop. Yellow Dog Fly Fishing Adventures is a fly fishing travel company. So if you want to go fish in the Seychelles or Alaska or Russia or wherever, they can help you plan your trip. This is Curtis. And I think what we'll do, Curtis, I think we will probably go up to the Story Mansion, which is a big old historic mansion that I think is now owned by the city. Or maybe it's a nonprofit, I'm not sure. But they have events there, and in the summers they have kind of a movie on the lawn type thing. But you can see these houses, kind of what I was talking about, really nice houses. There's an apartment building across the way, and it just kind of gets nicer to the top of the hill here, but we've got all this traffic. Incongruous, maybe that's what I was thinking of. Somebody's done some gardening here, I think, or maybe they're just letting it go. I like the sagebrush though, that's hard to introduce. We're gonna cross a street here called Koch, and it's a family name. I know other families pronounce it Koch or Koch, but here it's pronounced Koch. I think somebody years ago tried to convince me otherwise, but it's not the case. You can hear chickadee calling. Look at these little flowers here coming up. Really pretty. There's two types of chickadee around here. the black-capped and the mountain chickadee. I think it's mountain chickadee. And one of them goes, and the other one goes sort of yoo-hoo and cheeseburger as we cross Story Street here. Look at the really fine homes. And there are other very nice homes back in deeper in, away from Willson, and I guess you can't really move the homes. And you gotta have cars to get around. Although we're seeing more and more leaning into bike transportation. It's been shown to really alleviate traffic congestion if you can keep the bicyclists safe. And doing that requires some very specific kind of design in terms of keeping bikes and traffic physically separated. There's a great channel called Not Just Bikes. And this guy who now lives over in, I think, Amsterdam, he talks a lot about different street designs and city design in terms of pedestrian safety and bike safety and getting people around more efficiently and safely than just giant expressways. It's pretty interesting stuff too. I think the favorite thing I saw was if you raise the crosswalk, so it's kind of like an elevated or elongated speed bump, cars have to slow down and it reduces pedestrian collisions exponentially. Look at this cool fence. I like that. Huh. There's one of the Streamline buses, which I've talked about before. It's the bus company here, or the bus service, as we come up to Alderson, and it's free, no charge. Love these old style wood homes. I don't know what that style is particularly, but I wouldn't call it quite a craftsman. It's pretty though. And then across the way we have one of the fraternity houses, Sigma Chi. We're getting up towards the university now, but we're going to make a right on College as we take a look at the Story Mansion. It looks like they might have a wedding going on here too. We went and rode bikes up in Yellowstone last weekend. I'm not going to bother these people too much, but I am going to cross the street here. And we saw, because they close or they open the road they plow it and they don't open it to general tourist vehicles other than bikes. So you can take your bike up there for a couple weeks and ride up out of Mammoth towards West Yellowstone. And we saw someone propose, and the proposal seemed to have been accepted. There was a big group of people on e-bikes that had pulled off. The guy down on one knee. That was kind of fun. But look how giant this house is. It's hard to imagine that much wealth, 140 years ago or whenever it was built. It's not like it was a railroad town, really. I'm not going to bore you with more details. Which way do I want to go here? I think I'm going to go down Grand a little ways. With the home prices, I've talked about that quite a bit. It's shocking. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, this is kind of cool. Off to the left here, there's this house. I'll cross over. There's kind of this older historic home, and then behind they put up a pretty cool modern looking home, an ADU. One of the things they've tried to do this year, the state, is they passed a law, well, several laws, but one of which said cities can no longer charge impact fees for ADUs. And that can be many thousands of dollars. So it's hopefully going to incentivize people to build more housing, increase the supply in a more dense way rather than just subdivisions and that sort of thing. But we'll see. Somebody sued to block it, so it's in legal limbo. And we're going to make a left on Alderson, I think. This is an older home, but I think it's broken up into apartments. Being so close to the university, a lot of places rent to students, or have in the past, and there's been such a increase in values that I think a lot of these, sorry, I thought someone was speaking to me. There's been such a rapid increase in prices that I think a lot of the student housing will probably get pushed out here eventually. Students can only pay so much. It is unbelievably pleasant here. Third and Alderson. I used to know the person that lived there. Great family. Here's another ADU that's already been constructed. This is a South Side Park. And I don't know if it's over by in the tennis court area or in this main flat area, but in the winters, I believe they turned it into an ice rink, basically. It's like a on-leash dog park, maybe. Or maybe it's off-leash. Oh, very cool artwork that I missed over here. I'm gonna go check it out. Some metal work. I've seen it before, but it looks like they've added some. I like this chrome knight. Kind of cool. Oh. cross back over. Some kids playing baseball or wiffle ball. Coming up on 5th. And I think we're going to duck down to, was it Curtis? Just to see some more of the neighborhood. Hi there. Oh, Dickerson. That's the next one down. Around 6th year, we are going to go down to Cooper Park. I lived here from, well, in 1997 for a few months, and then in 2003 I moved over. Lived here for, 3 years before moving over to Livingston. And used to come over to Cooper Park because it's an off-leash dog park. It was kind of a nice social outlet, but I'm noticing they keep adding more and more of these roundabouts, which I think is great because all these intersections, almost all the intersections, are uncontrolled in these neighborhoods, meaning there's no stop signs or yield signs or anything. So you're kind of incumbent to, in theory, yield to the person on the right. But, you know, humans being humans, that's kind of a harassment, isn't it? A lot of times they just blow through intersections and you end up getting a lot of wrecks. Well, not a lot, but more than zero. Yeah, some folks, a couple guys on a double bicycle. Up here, where'd they go? Maybe they stopped. The nickname for the park is Pooper Park because of all the dog excrement that fails to get picked up. But it's actually, people do a pretty good job. I think I mentioned we're still in April, so there's another 2 or 3 weeks, I think, of university in session. But then it'll get really quiet. There's actually, over by this water fountain, there are inscribed bricks they sold to raise money for the water fountain, for the dogs and people. And my dog, two of our former dogs have names in there. Crossing 7th. We're on Story, by the way. We'll come up here to 8th and make a left and see what we can see. Bozeman has changed a significant amount in the last, 20 years since I've been here in this area, as have a lot of places, but I think it tends to get a bad rap now in the region because it's grown so much and changed quite a bit. But it really is a beautiful city, a wonderful place to visit, and if you can afford to, a pretty nice place to live. It can be challenging, I think. There's a little garden structure over there that I am intrigued by, but I don't want to go over and make anybody feel uncomfortable. So. This is the First Church of Christ Scientist, which I guess is a Christian Scientist church, Christian Science church. I'm not familiar with that sect or their belief systems. There's a house for sale over here, the green one, with a very large garage and ADU behind it. This is the Irving School, an elementary school, as we cross Dickerson again. It's a big new development over here. Fancy new place. Looks like townhomes, maybe. Let's cross over. Got some garden beds going here at the elementary school. Like maybe some onions punching up. Love the shadows these big spruces cast. It may be 48 degrees, but the sun makes you feel a lot warmer. Coming up on 9th and Alderson, which is what we're on now. Let's make a left on Alderson. Looks like some construction, new builds go down there. And we're gonna go up, we'll see the northern edge of the university, Montana State University. These buildings here, the gray and yellow ones here, now they used to look a lot like the one on the right, maybe a little older, but they've been refurbished the last few years and look quite nice now. This little subdivision in here has a rotating home to various restaurants over the years. And then this old building with the pickle sign down here is a Pickle Barrel. We have one over in Livingston. I think this is the original one for this area. I think there's Pickle Barrel restaurants in lots of different cities, but not affiliated, just independently owned. Just a common name, not a common business or anything. And Joe's Parkway is a little, kind of a fancy little grocery store. I don't know if it's fancy, but it's got some high-end cheeses and wines and stuff. It's been around for at least 20 years, probably way more. And we'll go down a little further here. The coffee shop back there is now, looks like it's called Beacon Coffee Roasters. It used to be, it was a coffee shop, but I can't remember what it was called. Here on across this little street, which is probably 10th, is Columbo's Pizza, and it has been around for decades and decades. And it's pretty much pizza and beer. It's a great place for if you're in college, a typical college kind of restaurant. It's pretty great. And I think, I guess I'm gonna go down this way. It's like there's some families either leaving or getting there for a pizza party. Here's the coffee shop again. I spent quite a bit of time in there myself. I suspect most of these little houses are student housing, student rentals, or rentals to young people, at least in this little area. And then as we get further north towards Maine, I think that it becomes more families and other adults. I don't know what I'm basing that on other than the appearance of stuff, the appearance of the houses and the lawns and general level of upkeep. You can kind of peek through the trees here and see the Bridgers to the north. My oldest son was gonna hike up as far as they could on Baldy today, which is kind of behind that tree now that I mentioned it. Curious to see how far they got. I go down Dickerson again, and we'll cross over 11th. It's sort of Willson, and then 8th, and then 11th, and then 19th as north-south arteries. That greenhouse over there, I think I lived in the basement in 1997. Coming up on 11th here. Crosswalk, thanks. So you need a resident parking permit here Monday through Friday because of the proximity to the university. Parking is at a premium, and I'm sure the local residents get annoyed by folks trying to find free parking. There's a utility company driving down with a guy about 20 feet in the air. We're gonna go down on 12th, yeah, and just see what we can see here. We're gonna go right on Koch. We got some greenery coming out on this willow tree. That's pretty. It's a welcome sight. Actually, I think we're an olive. No, we're not. Sorry, that was a trick. Maybe we are. I think we are on olive. Because I think, no, maybe not. I was thinking that was the house Traveling Mel used to live in, but that was on olive. This is Koch. Oh, that smell of that spruce tree in the sunlight. Lovely. Back to 8th here. There's a bunch of folks up here with their hammocks strung out in the park. These little lightweight hammocks are pretty sweet. Easy to carry around. It's a great day. Be out. hanging out in the hammock. Let's go down this way, down 6th. John Tester is the Democratic incumbent U.S. Senator from Montana. He's an organic farmer near Big Sandy, which is big farming country. And he's known for his flat top haircut, and then I like him. He seems like a not a regular guy, but just he doesn't get caught up. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about partisan politics. That's silly. It's not the channel for that. Look at this big place. Wow. Across Curtis here. Love these old houses in here. They really are beautiful. There's this one down here with the flag off to the left, sort of a mint green, not a mint green, sage green. Very cool. I think we're on the corner of Olive and 10th? Yeah. Or 11th. No, 9th. Anyway, we're going to make a right. And our right is going to go back across the street. I've only had really one negative interaction down in Cody, actually, while filming, with people being upset. And they thought I was doing something that I wasn't. They thought I was somebody that I wasn't. And it was unpleasant. But aside from that, I do try to avoid filming like little kids. There's some kids playing on a trampoline across the street, and it's no big deal for me to cross over and not film them, not put them on the internet. And I try not to focus on, like, point the camera directly at people while I'm filming. Legally in the US, you can film as long as there's no expectation of privacy. Like, I couldn't go into somebody's backyard or lift the camera over a fence to look over a fence or something like that. Then technically, I think to publish it is a different story. And I just don't want to cause a problem. I don't want to have a problem. I don't want to cause anybody a problem. So I just try to be respectful. I find that's the easiest. It's kind of an interesting drop-in camper. It's for sale. Ooh, $29,000. Kimbo camper. Look at that house over there. I don't think that's technically a craftsman style, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what else to call it. Sort of a farmhouse style. It's pretty. Fourth and Olive. Fourth always strikes me as like they got the count off somehow, and so they turned an alley into a street. It's basically the back side of a lot of houses, as an alley would be, and there isn't an alley between Third and Fourth, or Fourth and Fifth. I think this is a neat Victorian, which. I don't know if it's rental apartments or vacation rentals. The Landmark. Looks like maybe a mix. Oh wow, look at that place. We're on Third. Duck down here real quick. That's a big house. Pretty. Well done. As you can see, we are on the backside of the Emerson now, almost to our original starting point. We're at 55 minutes. That's not too bad for a nice spring afternoon walk in Bozeman, Montana. Check out this sort of homemade trailer. That's kind of cool. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed taking you along, finding little things about Bozeman that I may not have seen before, things that have changed, things that are the same, but interesting. I've certainly enjoyed the weather. I am about a week and a half from leaving for France, still scrambling to get everything ready and figured out, but it'll work out. It'll work its way out one way or another. Not sure we're going to film next week before we leave, and I was hoping to get a bunch in the bag so I wouldn't have to publish on the trail, but I might have to. I might try and do some live streams. We'll see if I can get that figured out. In any case, I want to thank you guys for joining me here in Bozeman, Montana. And I hope you'll come back next week, and I hope you'll check out the website with where city walks live, with searchable search terms by location and by runtime, walk time, as I like to say, and also by keyword. So go over there, punch into on the right hand side, find the walks you want to watch, and keep on stepping.